Soon may the wellerman come, bring us coffee, tea, and rum. One day when the tonguing is done, take our leave and go. At a fair in the sun of town, her hair was blonde and her dress was brown. Soon may the wellerman come around.
This adventure took place in the early fall of 2023, and I had trailered the skiff down much further south in LBL than I would normally launch, and on the map, this very location was actually marked as an official boat ramp, so I was expecting something paved, but when I arrived, it was exactly what you see here, little more than a place where a gravel road enters the water. According to my map study, there were several islands just off of this launch site, and in this area, Barkley Lake was really more like the Cumberland River than it was like a lake. It was very narrow here, so I was unsure of which island I would be able to explore. That would all depend on the wind and current. The water was low, and I was having some difficulty locating the creek channel in order to get out to the main river channel. Finally, I got out to more open water, and the trees that you're seeing just to the bow, that is actually the other side of the channel. So this is a very narrow part of the lake indeed. It really is just the Cumberland River. Normally on the broader sections of both Kentucky Lake and Lake Barkley, I don't notice the current at all. But here on this narrow section of the Cumberland River, I was struggling to make progress to windward as well as fighting the current, as both were originating from the same direction, from the south. As a result, I gave up on sailing pretty quickly, though I was reluctant to do so. The chart had indicated several small islands to the north, but that would be downwind and downstream, so I didn't really think that would be a good way to go, as it might make getting back to the truck pretty difficult. So rowing upriver it was, but the good news was this was where a very large island was marked on the chart, and I was really curious to see what this was about. I just stopped to take a break for a moment from rowing, and a couple of guys passed in a John boat and slowed down and idled their motor and called out to ask if I was okay. That happens a lot. If people see you pulled over and beached or out of the boat, they are likely to think that you're broken down or need assistance. The guy at the helm just had a very confused look on his face, like, that thing doesn't have a motor on it. How did he get here? But they're, nice people. Boaters will check on each other and take care of each other out here in the more remote parts of LBL. Well, some boaters anyways. This is most definitely an island, but it turns out that it's much bigger than I thought. I just checked the GPS and I walked over the hill and I saw something I wasn't expecting. I was expecting to come over that hill and just see water, but it's actually a massive field. Turns out this island is like maybe 3 to 4 miles long, and I would say at least a half mile across. It could be a mile across at its widest point, or nearing that anyways. Behind me is the Cumberland River channel, and I rode up the channel to get here. And then on this side must just be kind of flats. There might be a creek channel though, actually. I really don't know. That would make sense, to tell you the truth, if there was a notable creek channel. I'm standing on a raised area that has large limestone rocks on either side of it, and it really reminds me of a railroad bed. There's definitely some kind of crop planted here in this field, and I want to say it's sorghum. It looks an awful lot like it to me. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. I believe this area is kind of a conservation area, and sometimes they will plant a crop just for wildlife. I noticed some deer tracks when I landed here, which was a little bit surprising at first until I realized how big the place is, and that kind of makes sense now. I would say this island could sustain a few deer, and it's probably shallow enough on the eastern side that they can just wade across. There may even be some places that dry out completely somewhere. I'm gonna have to be really careful about looking at the ground, because this would be a bad place to get snake bit. And I'm sure I will be getting chigger bites for sure, but I think it'll be worth it to explore this place. It's just way too thick to walk through the woods in this tall grass very far at all, considering what I'm wearing. So I'm gonna have to go back down to the bank and just walk along the bank and see what I can discover that way. I'm seeing a huge column of smoke to the southwest, and that would be somewhere in LBL. So that's A little bit weird, but maybe the Forest Service is doing a controlled burn. That's all I can figure. Because if not, that is not a good thing. It's a sort of a white smoke, so I would say that's probably wood. A little white, and some of it has a bluish tinge to it. Definitely looks like a wood fire to me. Actually, this bay that's just now coming into sight is totally covered up in a blue smoke. Something bit or stung me on the foot, of all places. I don't know if it was plant, animal, or insect. It's a rough place out here. I'm coming around the south point of the island, and now I can actually see the water on the eastern side. There's a little bit of sand right here, and that's the first sandy spot that I've seen here. A lot of duck blinds out on this side. That makes sense. Looks like just kind of a shallow flats area. I don't see any sort of navigation markers. I still have a feeling there is some kind of creek channel out there though, but I can tell it's pretty flat for the most part. This is a huge area of mud flats that's dried out right here. This area of sand is covered in flint flakes and worked flint, and it's interesting, it's all kind of a pink color. This channel will continue to charge along under full sail, but at cumberlandrover.com I offer videos not available on this channel or anywhere else. The videos and articles are free. I don't run ads, but I do have a store offering some unique handmade products of my own design that I think will be of interest to sailors and outdoor enthusiasts.